Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Fortin. I'm the host of this podcast, Doers Within Emerging Markets. And I just want to share my experience with using Anchor so far. When the pandemic started, I thought about starting a podcast, and the whole idea was to bring in some really amazing folks that are doing some great work in their respective industries within the emerging markets. And the Anchor platform really helped me get the word out there, and also just make it a lot easier for me to invite the guest and just share the amazing experiences they've had and the amazing work they're doing in their respective industries within the emerging markets. So it's pretty fun. You don't even worry about the technical part of making a podcast. You actually just focus more on the content. And Anchor has done it really well for me. So I will highly encourage anybody who is trying to start a podcast to try to use. Just check out Anchor, and I think you won't regret it. I'm not a technical person, but if you listen to these episodes that I've been publishing so far, it seems like I know what the technical part of it, but Anchor helps you take care of the technical part, and you just focus on the content. So feel free to check it out. I highly encourage. You won't regret it, and it's right there. You don't pay anything. So in times like this, I think starting a podcast and getting the word out there, irrespective of what you're doing, will be a really great experience. So thank you guys for listening to my episodes. Please check out Anchor, and you will have a great time. So cheers, guys, and see you guys next episode. Thanks. Hello, everyone. So thank you again for tuning in into this podcast, Time for Emerging Markets, Doers Within Emerging Markets. I'm the host, Jacob Fortin, and I'm so excited and honored to have Heather Beem here with us today. Incredibly amazing person. She's an MIT graduate in Mechanical and Ocean Engineering class of 2015, and also the founder and CEO of Practical Education Network. And I'm so pleased to have her here. Heather, welcome, and how are you doing?
Thank you, Jacob. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's get into it. Just please tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
My name is Heather. I grew up in the US, studied mechanical engineering throughout university and graduate school, and then ended up developing an interest and passion for STEM education and helping more students get access to practical, hands-on education. Interest led me to move to Ghana about 5 years ago. And in that time, I've been based here in Accra and leading a nonprofit organization seeking to enable children across the continent to get to experience hands-on learning.
That's amazing. So you just mentioned briefly you went to MIT and you did engineering. So how did that shape you into get into the space, like into the education space? And can you just give us a little bit about like the background and how that transition was like?
Yes. So as I said, I studied mechanical engineering and ended up going to MIT for graduate school. And while I was there, I found myself really immersed in this environment that celebrated hands-on practical learning. It felt like everybody I talked to was working on a project. They were building a robot or whatever thing here and there that they could dream up. And so I really got drawn into that whole ethos of project-based learning and hands-on experiences. And as a mechanical engineer, it's something that I personally experienced as helpful in order to learn the subjects.
Yes.
And so while I was there, I just started developing this question in my mind of, how can more students get access to this kind of environments? Because
Exactly.
it's powerful to be immersed in an environment that really celebrates hands-on learning. And so being both in that environment and then also being having a lot of opportunities available at MIT to listen to entrepreneurs, to go to seminars, to sign up for workshops and programs and classes, and hear about entrepreneurship. These two things kind of merged together for me over time into a desire to also go out myself and do something in the world in this line of education work.
Amazing, amazing. And going into the world, why did you pick Ghana of all places? I know Africa has some really amazing countries, from Cameroon and West Africa. I wish you could have picked Cameroon, because the work, yeah, exactly. The work you've been doing is incredible. So why Ghana?
I hope we'll make it to Cameroon someday.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Well, Ghana ended up being the easiest place for me and some other students who were involved to start conversations with schools and interested stakeholders. So basically, that's why we ended up in Ghana. MIT has a program called DLab that your listeners may or may not be familiar with, and they have been sending students to work on development projects in Ghana for some years. So through them, it was easier to get in touch with people. And also, Ghana is generally quite friendly to foreigners. It's a stable country politically, and it's a safe place. So a lot of things just kind of made sense for it to be a starting point. But as I said, I hope that this work can extend to other countries soon.
No, definitely. I mean, I think from general perception too, from an African, I think Ghana has a very, to reiterate what you said, it's a very good place to start as an entrepreneur, especially if you're coming from the outside. That's incredible. Can you share a little bit about the MIT DLab, because I'm guessing some people might not know much about the DLab. If you can just give just a brief understanding what the DLab is.
Yeah, so DLab at MIT is a program that started about 20 years ago now, I believe. And it's a set of classes and now research projects and other initiatives, all centered around supporting students to learn how to meaningfully engage with communities in other countries around the world, and usually rural communities that can benefit from various developmental things around sanitation, health, water, etc. So they've attracted a lot of students to their programs, and I was one of them that got excited about applying myself as an engineer to solve problems that would affect people in a very direct way.
Exactly. I mean, I've been lucky to. I think I attended like the 10th anniversary, something like that. I think it was like 2016 or 2017, and just it was open to non-MIT students as well. So I was really fortunate to see the work that the DLab has been doing, and incredible entrepreneurs that they support, and I think they're doing some amazing work. It's pretty incredible. Can you share a little bit about now Practical Education Network? What you guys have been doing, what your vision has been, and kind of give us an update of where you guys are at the moment.
Yeah, so for us at Penn, our mission is to enable every African child to learn by doing.
Yeah.
The current status quo is that majority of students who become the majority of adults in Ghana and many other neighboring countries, their regular experience as they go through school is one that's marked by rote memorization. And this means that students are bored in class. They're not really actually learning much in depth. Yeah. And it's just so easy to forget whatever you've learned. And so the implications of that are quite far reaching. It means that you have a workforce coming out of the education system that doesn't have that doesn't see themselves as part of the solution, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so, yeah, so our vision is to build, to contribute to the building of a generation of young people who have that problem-solving mindset and have the technical skills that they need to sustainably transform and develop the economy. And
Exactly.
so we're trying to tackle that from the foundational level. So we're starting with, or we're working with the, what they're called here, basic schools. So, you know, primary and middle schools. And we're trying to help classrooms at that young level become a place where students get to regularly engage in practical work, in projects, in experiments, in hands-on activities. And through those experiences, they will become engaged in their learning. They will gain real understanding of STEM concepts, and then they'll even have practice building things, solving problems, which are essential pieces of their toolkit, so to speak, to go out into the world and you know, solve problems.
Yeah, I can incredibly like relate to like the regurgitation of just like information, um, like primary school and right up to high school, which is I think the Cameroonian Anglophone education is similar to Ghanaian. It was just like a regurgitation of information, and I wish I could have signed up for Penn if Penn was in Cameroon at that time, so I could actually, do some really practical stuff. That's incredible. I do think like the value creation, the impact will be seen for a very long term, and I do appreciate the fact that you took that MIT practicality and applied it to your company, Penn. So that's very incredible. Just now going out to like the kind of the boring stuff. Like, how is it like starting a business in Ghana? It might not be boring because I'm guessing. So how was it like when you went there? How was the process? I think some of our listeners might be curious. As someone who has done it and is running this education company there, what was it like getting there the first time interacting with government officials? Trying to register the company, trying to find your first employees. If you can just please share a little bit about that, I'm sure some listeners will appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I think I've learned a lot by experience, just as we are trying to promote learning by doing. I think there's been a lot that I've learned. So I don't know that necessarily the exact steps that I experienced are the ones everybody else should also go through. But so when I was starting out, I was like at the very beginning, I was seeing this as more of like a movement, you know, something that would get cultivated at the grassroots level and then kind of organically grow from there. And I think we were actually able to achieve that to a large degree. Early on, we just out of the gate, basically, I and some other key people on the ground here who came on board, you know, we were training hundreds and then thousands of teachers within a short time frame. So to answer your question, basically starting out, I was able to identify a few science teachers here who were really excited about the work that Penn was trying to promote, and they came on board as volunteers early on, and they were really key in helping open doors with district offices, regional education offices, you know, booking venues, getting the word out there, and they were really instrumental. Then over the course of a few years, I slowly realized that although we had this great success with getting volunteers and getting teachers really excited and even, you know, spreading the word out there themselves, eventually it's going to be structured. And that is when I started really getting serious about all of the other pieces that you just described, like registering, setting up a board, hiring employees, getting an office space. So yeah, I think those things were not so easy to figure out because information isn't so easily accessible here.
Yes.
You know, you usually have to go and wait around at various offices to figure out what's going on, and then at the end of the day you realize you have another office to go to.
Yes.
But thankfully I connected with some other local entrepreneurs, and I was working out of a co-working space for a couple of years at the beginning, and so through them I was able to get a lot of insight on which buildings to go to and which papers to fill out. But it wasn't too obvious just coming in.
Definitely. It takes like a combination of just a very good, solid local network. I guess maybe just, I mean, the information is not obvious, right? You know, you have to really dig in and hopefully meet the right person, right local at the right time, such that, you know, you can actually get the right information and right process.
Yeah.
It's an interesting process. Thanks for being resilient and staying on course. So just going to the next question, I wish get your thoughts on how did language and culture impact your building this movement as you described earlier, and how do you think that has some level? Let me say, how does that help kind of build either the mission that you want to achieve, understanding the essence of culture and language, and how do you think that will shape Penn moving forward?
Yeah, I think even from the beginning, recognizing the importance of culture has been part of what I've tried the organization to achieve.
Yeah.
So we're working in STEM education, and if you look online, there are a ton of resources available for STEM education out there. In fact, one of the initial ideas that was being thrown around there for Penn was just to kind of like make a website where all of this plethora of resources could be made available for teachers here to see.
Yes.
But quickly it became obvious that, just directing people to a website where things look unfamiliar and all that is not really an effective way of transforming behavior. So early on, the importance of creating content that is locally relevant, that it uses local materials, has been a key part of our approach at Penn.
Yep.
So we help teachers do hands-on activities, but 100% of the materials we use are things that they can find in their town, in their village, at a small kiosk or markets, really simple things like straws and bottle tops and toothpicks, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So, and yeah, it's not only, helpful for them to actually be able to do the things compared to what they would maybe find online if they Google for something, but it also, highlights the value of what's available here, which I think, hits at something deeper, that there's this sense that, oh, we have to wait for things to come from a foreign country in order for us to get what we need and to do good things in education. But we're also highlighting the immense value of what can be procured locally, and how that can actually have a transformative effect on students.
Definitely. I mean, the last time you did present, that was fortunate to watch you present at MIT. I think I got a sense that you really appreciated and you valued deeply the culture of the Ghanaians, and there was a similar process of integration, how you wanted to develop the program, especially for them to use things that they already have at hand, in order to build the practical knowledge that the practical education that your platform is about. So really appreciate that. I think you have been thinking about that from the very beginning. So what's the future plan of no, you mentioned earlier, hopefully you might be in Cameroon. What's the what are you thinking now in terms of like maybe scaling, or maybe if you want to, maybe vertical integration or horizontal integration? What are some of your thoughts? You don't have to share all the patented information, but if you're willing to share anything.
Well, one thing I've learned is that the line of work we're in is a very complex and challenging one. So I wish anybody good luck. If someone is listening to this and thinks they can just take the ideas and run with it, it's not an easy path ahead. So a couple of things in terms of reach, we've trained about 3,500 Ghanaian teachers now across more than 60 districts of the country, and there are about 250 districts. So in the next 5 years, we want to extend our reach across the entire nation and have reached virtually all of the science teachers at the pre-tertiary level in Ghana. So that's still a substantial step above where we've gotten to, but that's the goal that we have in terms of reach. And then also to be able to pilot in at least 2 other African countries and most likely West African countries. So you can put your bid in for Cameroon.
I was strongly advocate for Cameroon. I think we do need practical education network in Cameroon. Being a product of that education system. And I think there'll be an easy integration, and especially the English speaking side of Cameroon. That makes sense. So just to go into, I think this question is more about like your leadership skills and how you built your team. How was it like selecting the people to become, selecting the members who are the core team members of practical education? What was your thought process like, or what was your, if I might say, a checklist on finding people that you believed in the cause, the mission, and were willing to build this platform with you?
Well, I'm still learning a lot about that process, to be honest, because as I said, from the beginning, I was leveraging a lot of really passionate volunteers or part-time staff, and that was really effective at pushing the grassroots movement. And I think I'm now in the last, let's say 2 years, been really looking at building out the full-time staff capacity. So in terms of process, I've interviewed so many people at this point. We have, thankfully, we've doubled in team size each of the last 2 years. So now there are 8 full-time staff working with me.
Yep.
And so I've interviewed a lot of people. Basically, there are a lot of people out there in the system who are talented, smart, and a lot of people who are excited about making a transformation in the education system here. So it's just been kind of a matter of being able to put the job description down clearly, being able to articulate what is it that really needs a person overseeing, and then getting the word out there. And then time after time, there'll be hundreds of people putting their application in.
Definitely. That makes sense. I think it's a learning process, I guess, especially in a country like Ghana, and just it's a different way things have been approached, and how people view jobs and how people view entrepreneurship might be different. Just shifting gears a little bit, how is how is there any form of partnerships with the local governments to drive the mission of PEN? Do you find that as a positive, or do you find that as a very collaborative interactions? And what has been the reception of your program from the local level, from the local governments, as you're scaling and building PEN?
Right. So about 70% of the teachers we've worked with are from public schools. And anytime we work with a public school, we have to work through the government offices. usually the district office, sometimes the regional office as well. So the partnership has been successful in enabling us to reach the teachers that we have reached.
Yeah.
So we've had great reception from most stakeholders. The challenges are more just in working through the bureaucracy, you know, having to push papers here and there, and it just takes a long time to do something seemingly simple. But stakeholders are generally quite excited about what we're doing because, you know, science is one of the subjects that students usually score poorly in,
Mm-hmm.
and there just really aren't many other interventions in the system here in Ghana to help improve the quality of science education. So yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. And it sounds like, you know, you have had, you know, building what you've built. I'm guessing you have been mentored, or, you know, you've had the opportunity to, you know, be exposed to people that maybe guided you to where you are. If you can please share a little bit about the people that inspired you, who has been your role models growing up, and how you view mentorship in general. I think some of our listeners will, I guess all of our listeners will love to hear about that.
Hmm. Well, I think I can point to people at different stages of my life.
Sure.
Yeah, at different stages of my life, there have been different people that I've either looked up to or sometimes had as an official mentor, but usually more just someone that that inspires me. So yeah, I mean, getting involved in this line of work in the first place, the folks at DLab, the founder Amy Smith is somebody who inspired me. I got set up with formal mentors through some of the programs that supported Penn at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, yes, since then, I mean, I've been in Ghana for about 5 years now. So the kinds of people who fit in that capacity for me are Ghanaians, either entrepreneurs or um, academics, I guess, are the two categories. So yeah, I'm thankful I have a few people that are either officially in a mentorship capacity or even on our board of directors. I think each person that's on our board of directors is someone who I also consider a personal mentor.
Definitely, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. No, thanks so much for sharing that. I think sometimes people view mentorship in different ways, but but I do think that mentors are different. At different stages in your entrepreneurial endeavor, you meet different people filling different roles, and you can have multiple at the same time that achieve different, that they are designed in a very mutually beneficial way to help support you in different areas of your life. So thanks for sharing that. So for those who are trying to go to Ghana to start a business, what's the advice you would share with them? Beyond the nice weather and the and a good soccer team, what are other things that you love to share with
Yeah, and
young
get ready to
aspiring?
eat spicy food.
Yeah, that was mine. Was anything you love to share with them?
Sure. I think I would say try to identify people in the sector you're interested in working in who really get whatever it is that you're trying to do, who really are on the same wavelength, so to speak, with you about the work you're interested in doing, and latch onto them and talk a lot with them, test your assumptions, just go into, if you're coming into Ghana or any other, similar country as a foreigner, just be ready to change your mind about things. You should think of everything as an assumption, and that you are probably wrong about things that you assume right now. So if you come in with that kind of flexibility as a mindset, then I think you can achieve a lot. And then again, connecting with local folks.
Definitely. I have two last questions. The first, last but one is, are you currently hiring? Are you currently looking for investments? I think this one of this purpose of this platform is to share some exciting stuff that you might have, and you may be willing to invite new folks, partners, and hopefully people that are willing to support. It doesn't necessarily have to be investors or employees you're looking for, but just allies that might be of value to what you're building?
Yeah. Well, with COVID, just as with many other programs, it has challenged us to shift our programming online, which was actually something that was not in our plans, in our strategic plan for the few years ahead, because our work is very hands-on. We have internet connectivity challenges here. So it's really challenging, but we've gone there. We've pushed our own boundaries, and we've been able to do a pilot online training last year with about 100 teachers. And so right now that's our core focus, is refining that, building it out, and then once COVID gets a bit more under control, looking at blending the online component with the in-person component in an optimal way. So if there are people who are interested in joining us in some capacity to enable that would be very welcome. We're excited about how that will enable us to reach scale much more quickly than we would have been able to otherwise.
Awesome. And they can reach out to you on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Heather Beem, or you can look up Practical Education Network on social media. You can find us on all the platforms. Yeah.
Yes, and I'll include all of that in the link on the podcast as well, so you'll be able to get that as well. And the last question, what's your favorite Ghanaian food? Don't say Ghanaian jollof.
Uh-oh.
No, go ahead.
Jollof is good, but my favorite is fufu.
Oh,
light soup.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So thank you so much for being here, Heather Beem. Heather Beem is the founder and CEO of Practical Education Network, and it's such an honor to have you. Best of luck with everything, and hopefully you come back on the podcast with some exciting news, maybe in the coming months or sometime in the future. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thanks.